I'm rolling whenever you're ready. And I'll be showing this to the class tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, really.
It's gonna be horrible, though.
No, it's not. You were one of mine.
Okay, everybody. Today I'm going to tell you why you should vote Democrat. I have a clip that I'm going to show at the beginning of my slide.
Barack Obama, at a very young age, from like age 1 to 6, was with Islamic.
Is he a terrorist?
You want to sound right?
I just want to know if you think he's a terrorist. Do you think he's a terrorist?
I think he's a one-man terrorist, though.
He's a terrorist?
He's got the bloodlines.
What does that mean?
Just think about the name.
So you do think he's a terrorist?
I didn't say that, but I think he is.
You knew why?
He's got the connection. Look at his name. Okay. When did you first hear of Obama?
4 years ago.
Was that when he was developing Acorn, or was that?
What do you know about Acorn?
I know that it propagated low-income housing to people that couldn't afford it in the Chicago area.
When's the first time you heard of Acorn?
Today. When is the first time you heard of Obama?
I'm asking you guys, when's the first
Maybe
time
the
you
first
heard?
time you heard of Obama.
4 years ago.
Exactly, sir. Your point right there. Before we ever heard of Obama.
When did you first hear of Obama?
Maybe 2 years ago, a flash on CNN.
So you heard of Sarah Palin 2 years ago too?
Actually, 3 years ago.
Really?
Yes, really.
Answer his questions unless he offers them in writing to you.
I think you're stupid.
Why, sir?
Because that guy gets elected, he hangs around with terrorists.
Who's the terrorist?
Obama.
Obama's a terrorist, don't you know that?
Obama's a Muslim, he's a terrorist himself.
Do you really believe that, sir? You really believe that? You believe that Senator Obama is a terrorist?
I believe he supports terrorism.
Here it is! Prove it!
Okay, class. That was an example of some Republicans saying that Obama is a terrorist. A United States citizen. He was born in Hawaii. He was born here. And they're saying that he's a terrorist. This is the type of propaganda that Republicans do. They try to make you seem as though you aren't equal to them. They try to beat you down. So, I'm going to tell you now why you should vote Democrat. Oh, let me start the slideshow.
Oh, it won't do it, remember? You just have to hit the...
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, from the beginning of political speeches and presidencies, there have always been two parties or more parties. A party is basically when you have a certain group of people with certain views and another group of people with other views. Now, the Democrats are known more as the people that help the poor, and the Republicans are known as the people that like the rich and want them to stay rich. So, a lot of people have a problem with our economy. They tend to blame Obama about the economy. But what many people don't understand is that we've been in debt since the 1930s. We've been in debt ever since then, and now that it's come all the way here, now they're trying to blame Obama. So just in case people don't understand how much money the U.S. is in debt, I'm going to show you a video clip explaining it to you.
The $100 bill. The most counterfeited money denomination in the world. Keeps the globe moving. This is what 10 grand looks like. Enough for a great vacation or to buy a used car. Approximately 1 year of work for the average human on Earth. You're looking at million. Not as big a pile as you thought. Still, this is 92 years of work for the average human being. This is $100 million. Plenty to go around for everyone. Fits nicely on a standard size pallet. $1 billion. You'll definitely need some help robbing a bank. Now we're getting serious. And the Mac Daddy, $1 trillion. Now when the US government speaks about a $1.7 trillion deficit, this is the volumes of cash the US government borrowed in 2010 alone to run itself. Now keep in mind it is double-stacked pallets of $100 million each, full of $100 bills. Now you're going to need a lot of trucks to freight this around. If you spend $1 million a day since Jesus was born, you would not have spent $1 trillion by now. Unless the US government fixes the budget, US national debt will top $15 trillion by Christmas of 2011. But the numbers get much, much worse. US unfunded liabilities has reached $114.5 trillion. Now to the right you can see the pillar of cold hard $100 bills that will dwarf the World Trade Center and Empire State Building. Both at one point were the tallest buildings in the world. The $114.5 trillion super skyscraper is the amount of money the US government knows it does not have to fully fund the Medicare prescription drug program, Social Security, military, and civil servant pensions. It is the money the USA knows it will not have to pay all its bills. Now, if you live in the USA, this is your personal credit card bill. You are responsible along with everyone else to pay this back. The citizens of the USA created the US government to serve them. This is what the US government has done while serving the people.
Okay. So what many Americans want to know is, what caused us to become in debt? A lot of people say that it's because of Obama. Obama's causing us to spend all of this money. But what they don't understand is, when all of these government-funded programs that are out nowadays that are causing us to be in all of this debt, Republicans were in office. When George Bush was in office, nobody had anything to say about all of the debt that America was in. But now that there's a Democrat in office, the Republicans want to try and blame us. The reason why you should vote Democrat is because the Democrats are for a new age. They're for new policies, and they just want everything to be new, because obviously the things that have happened in the past aren't working. For example, Governor Mitt Romney, when he was running against Barack Obama, they asked him, how long do you feel like we should be in war? He said 50 more years. And that brings us to how much does war cost. The Iraq War started 10 years ago, and it cost us $2 trillion. When he said that he wanted to have a war for 50 more years, he was going to put the U.S. in a total debt, more debt for $10 trillion more dollars. And back to what I was saying about old foreign policies, I have a clip from a debate in which Mitt Romney specifically said that he wanted, when it was proven that the Republicans wanted old policies instead of new ones.
Governor Romney, I'm glad that you recognize that Al-Qaeda is a threat. Because a few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not Al-Qaeda, you said Russia. The 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back, because the Cold War has been over for 20 years. But, Governor, when it comes to our foreign policy, you seem to want to import the foreign policies of the 1980s, just like the social policies of the 1950s and the economic policies of the 1920s. You say that you're not interested in duplicating what happened in Iraq, but just a few weeks ago you said you think we should have more troops in Iraq right now. And the challenge we have, I know you haven't been in a position to actually execute foreign policy, but every time you've offered an opinion, you've been wrong. You said we should have gone into Iraq, despite the fact that there were no weapons of mass destruction. You said that we should still have troops in Iraq to this day. You indicated that we shouldn't be passing nuclear treaties with Russia, despite the fact that 71 senators, Democrats and Republicans, voted for it. You said that first we should not have a timeline in Afghanistan, then you said we should. Now you say maybe, or it depends, which means not only were you wrong, but you're also confusing and sending mixed messages both to our troops and our allies. So what we need to do with respect to the Middle East is strong, steady leadership, not long and reckless leadership that is all over the map.
Okay, what you just saw was Barack Obama telling Mitt Romney that the Republican Party wanted to go into war with a country that hadn't done anything to us. What the U.S. did under the leadership of Republicans was they attacked an entire country over the actions of a small group within a country. As an example, if me and my friends went over to Russia and blew a building up and they attacked the U.S., we would think that that was wrong. But the Republicans, for some reason, think that it's justifiable to go into another country and declare war with another country when they haven't done anything as a whole, when it was one group of people.
Governor Romney, I'm glad that you recognize that Al-Qaeda is a threat, because a few months ago,
It was hard to maneuver that whole thing. This classroom, it's okay.
Sorry. Okay, so now I'm going to say a couple of things that the Democrats have done good for the economy that the Republicans oppose. One thing was cash for clunkers. CBS News published an article with a quote from Neil Sauce that says, $1 billion for cash for clunkers looks dramatically more efficient, dollar for dollar, than anything else that Congress has passed yet. What Barack Obama did was he offered people, if they bought more fuel-efficient cars and they got rid of their old cars, he would give them a discount. By doing this, what he did was he helped the environment, and he also helped stimulate the economy by getting people to have a better cash flow and start spending more money. Something else that stimulated the economy was the stimulus package. Based on an article published by CNN, it says that overall, CBS said that the report Monday that the bill's provisions would have a noticeable impact on economic growth and employment in the next few years. Basically, what he did was create jobs. And when people have jobs, they have money. And when people have money, they spend more money, which will stimulate the economy. And then another quote is, the agency also estimated by the fourth quarter of 2010, which was after 2 years after Barack Obama was elected, the bill will create between 1.2 and 3.6 million jobs. And when I researched it, it did. It actually created more jobs than that. So the Democrats created 3.6 million jobs for Americans, which means that there was more money and more cash flow. So next time, actually I have one more point. Another thing why you should vote Democrat is because, I don't have this on my slides, but another reason why is because Republicans seem to play party politics. Even if a bill is good, it seems like they don't want to vote for it no matter what. I actually have another clip that I would like to show you. Is it okay if I show another clip?
Mm-hmm.
I have another clip that I would like to show you. Just to show you how people that aren't Democrat, they tend to vote just with their party. They like to sway in the wind. It doesn't matter what they're voting for, as long as they know it's Republican, they'll vote for it. So I'll show you an example of that as well.
government shutdowns have happened before. The last one was in 1996. But the debate on this one is particularly heated because people have such strong opinions about Obamacare. Interestingly, the polls show that most Americans say they don't like Obamacare, but they love what's in it when it all gets broken down. It's like the opposite of a McNugget. So it's interesting. When there are complicated issues to study, most people just side with whoever they usually side with. So I decided to conduct an experiment today. We sent a camera crew out on the Hollywood Boulevard to ask people which they thought was better, the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. Now, as you may know, Obamacare is just a nickname for the Affordable Care Act. They're the same thing. But lo and behold, we found people who did not know that, and that didn't stop them from weighing in on it.
We're talking about health care today. Which plan do you support, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act.
And what is it about Obamacare that you do not like?
I just think that there's a lot of holes in it and it needs to be revamped. I think
And you think
hasn't been thought out.
You think the Affordable Care Act is a better plan than Obamacare?
Better, but I'm not happy with that either.
What do you agree with, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I'm more sort towards the Affordable Care Act, but I'm also very sympathetic for people that don't have the ability to have proper medical insurance.
So the Affordable Health Care Act is still a better option than Obamacare?
Yes.
And why do you not agree with the Affordable Care Act?
Well, I think it's more, it's not really available for all.
So the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare?
Just the name says it all.
Right. Do you agree with the Affordable Care Act?
Absolutely. I think it's nice that everyone can afford it, and everyone should be able to afford it, but to force people to pay something and doctors to make something, limiting their ability to do their job, that's kind of anti-American.
Right. So Obamacare is un-American?
I think it's kind of un-American to force people. What if they can't afford it? What if they want more coverage?
The Affordable Care Act is American.
I think it's more American because it allows people to make their own choices on what they want and who they want to work with.
Do you agree with the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare?
The affordable.
And why do you prefer the Affordable Care Act over Obamacare?
I just don't agree with the whole Obamacare policy thing that's going on. I just don't agree with it.
And do you believe that an informed citizenry is essential to a democracy?
Yes.
So you disagree with Obamacare?
Yes, I do.
Do you think insurance companies should be able to exclude people with pre-existing conditions?
No.
Do you agree that young people should be able to stay on their parents' plans until they're 26?
They should be able to, yes.
Do you agree that companies with 50 or more employees should provide health care?
I do.
And so by that logic, you would be for the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
What plan do you support, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act.
And why do you support that over
I
Obamacare?
do not like Obamacare. I don't like anything that has to be forced for everybody to buy. It's just not good.
Do you think Obamacare is socialist?
Yes, I do.
Do you think the Affordable Care Act is socialist?
No.
Do you believe that Obamacare will eventually lead to gun prohibition?
Yes.
Do you know that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing?
No, they're not. Thanks, you made me look stupid.
That's what we do.
Okay, you did good.
Okay, based on what you just saw, obviously Republicans have absolutely nothing, they know absolutely nothing about what's going on. They're just going with the party. This is why we had a government shutdown. A lot of the Republicans in the Senate that even said that they loved Obamacare did not vote for it simply because of the fact it had to do with Barack Obama and the Democrats. So what we need to do is we need to elect a party that's actually going to try to get things done. We need to elect a party that's going to take care of us as people and aren't going to try to play party politics. So I'm urging you to vote Democrat. Thank you.
All right.